not? I kind of, since we're like kind of catching up on everything, I think we're also going to be doing a video on Honkai Star Rail later on. Anyways, let's go. Yeah, that way I can sort of like remember what I've already said and sort of try to avoid repeating the same points on like two different videos.
Talk about something that I don't usually talk about on this channel, but obviously I want to cover a little bit more of like, you know, general gacha stuff, and this time is to do with Zenless Zone Zero. And
Alright, yeah, alright, let's get right into it. Honestly, if I was saying Wuthering Waves, like any and all complaints that I have about Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, it basically just multiplies it. And like, but has like a smaller roster of characters.
this is something that I found very interesting, because as a person who's played every Hoyoverse game that's come out, apart from, you know, some of them, for example, like Tears of Themis, I mean, I'm not playing that. But, you know, I've played most of the big ones that come out, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star, I've even played a little bit of Honkai Impact 3rd as well, and also Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah, I played Honkai Impact the 3rd actually for a while.
Itself, it seems like, you know, Zenless Zone Zero has not had that, you know, as big of an oomph as some of the previous games. And well, recently some actual information came out about Zenless Zone Zero, giving us an idea of how well, or, you know, how not so good it has been doing compared to some of the other Hoyoverse games, and, you know, what Hoyoverse could be doing differently to actually improve this and actually, you know, create a successful game. Now, let's
Again, it all comes back down to the same exact problems I have with Honkai Star Rail. There's not enough, like, you don't give enough rewards, so I never feel like I'm progressing or actually getting any kind of benefit out of playing the game. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time if I don't like shell out cash. The entire like GUI, the system is actually horrendous. Like, there should be a really nice setup system where I can go like, oh, here's all my dailies, let's go do all those. Here's all my weeklies, let's go do all those. Here's all my monthlies, and here's all like the fact that like it's so disorganized at times that it starts to get freaking annoying. I'm so glad that they started adding more events, like where you get to talk to the other characters. But the issue is that, similar to a lot of other gacha games, it's so incredibly annoying to have to like build a character, because you gotta pull for the kit. You gotta, like, first of all, you gotta like go get a bunch of freaking monies. You gotta pull for the character. Hope you get it. Don't get it. Pull again. Go get more monies. Pull again. You finally get the character. All right, cool. Now you got the character. Well, now you gotta go. You gotta go farm now to go pull the freaking character's W engine. Okay, you go pull the freaking character's W engine. You get the wrong one. Keep freaking grinding. Keep grinding. You grind for months. You finally get enough money. Not only the banner already, most of the time the banner's gone before you ever get a chance to ever pull for their actual W engine, right? But let's say after a couple months you finally get the chance to pull again, for the right W engine. You finally got the W engine. All right, cool. You got the correct W engine. Well, now you need the CDs. Well, which CDs? Well, CDs nuts. No, I'm joking. But you need the actual CD. You need to get like 2 CDs of this one and 4 CDs of another one. And it's just like, and then not only do you gotta like get the right CD, and not only do you have to level up the CD, so you need experience points for the CD, but you also have to get the correct CD of the right kind, because some CDs, it's the right type of CD, but that CD increases your critical attack and your defense, not your critical attack and base attack. So that's the route you gotta go farm that same exact CD again, but it has to have the correct stats. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like how the echoes are in Wuthering Waves. And I'll be kind of honest with you, I hate it in both the situations. I hate it in both situations. Both are stupid. Both are stupid, and I hate both of them.
just get into it, because this is another article from
Like, I get it, okay, the W engine is the character's weapon. Wuthering Waves, it was fine with just the character, and you gotta level them up, their skill points, or their skills, and then their weapon, and level that up. I could even say it's the echoes is fine. You gotta level up the echoes. But then the echoes go to like, oh, but now the echoes have substats. It's like, get the frick out of here with your stupid substats. You gotta get substats on the stupid echoes now too? Like, what is that? It's not freaking, oh, come on. And then the freaking echoes are annoying to get, because you gotta get like multiple copies, and then if you want to get like a particular material. Anyway, well, point being is, it's a lot of inconveniences that make the game very, very much an unpleasant experience to log in and grind. Whereas in some games, like Nikke, Goddess of Victory, and in all honesty, definitely sometimes Wuwa, more often than not, Girls Frontline too. Whenever you have enough freaking energy, those have some really nice, end game stuff that you can just sort of go in there and grind, relax, play the game. There's plenty of challenges in Wuthering Waves where you can just go beat up on some bad guys out in the open world. So that's nice. That's cool.
Gamer.biz. They usually provide us with some really, really good info and they essentially say Zenless Zone Zero celebrates its first anniversary with 442 million. Just 23% of Genshin Impact's year one, which is quite a lot less than its previous, game. And I think that, well, I say previous game, the one
unfair to compare it to Genshin Impact, though.
Versus latest gacha game generated nearly 1/3 of its lifetime mobile revenue in its launch month. Now they say Hoi versus Urban.
I would rather see it compared to Honkai Star Rail or Honkai Impact as opposed to Genshin Impact. Because I feel like that one was a bit of a culture shot. That was a bit of a, how would you say, a bit of a phenomenon. You know what I mean?
RPG Zenless Zone Zero celebrates its first anniversary today, after earning 442 million on mobile in its first 12 months. It's a modest sum compared to Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, which each surpassed 1 billion in their first year on mobile. So yeah, essentially they've made less than half of what these companies have made, and that's pretty crazy to think about. They say, in fact, Zenless Zone Zero.
You also have to understand and realize something. There's there's always going to be diminishing returns, because there's going to be some people that play Genshin Impact, like the game, and refuse to move on to Honkai Star Rail or Zenless Zone Zero because they only want to dedicate to Genshin Impact. There's going to be some people that played Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and at that point, they got like 2 or 3 games that they're playing. They don't have enough time or room or place for a freaking other game, as Zenless Zone Zero. They can also just not like that play style where they prefer the other one. Or maybe because maybe they play Honkai Star Rail, maybe they play Genshin Impact, and because of the frankly, the shitty monetization practices, they might just decide, hey, you know what? I'm kind of done with Hoyoverse. I'm not gonna get into another game because I kind of already saw where this leads. So there's just there's a lot working against it, basically, at this point being their 4th or 5th game.
Generated just 23% of the mobile.
Or I should say specifically being their
companies have made,
specifically being their 4th gacha game specifically.
With the open world giant having come closer to 2 billion in that time frame. So yeah, Genshin was closer to 2 billion. Now obviously Genshin is a big kind of anomaly whenever it came to the game being popular. Obviously you had the different kind of factors, including people being at home all the time, so there's way more people playing it, and they had a right time, right place kind of thing. But obviously with Honkai Star Rail, we were kind of coming out of the whole COVID stuff, and it actually did really good as well.
Sorry if it looks weird. I gotta kind of do this freaking weird position to straighten out my back, so because if I freaking move a little bit too much, it starts to hurt.
Despite people not
actually,
being
I might need to take my pain medication.
I think they actually did a really good job at marketing that, with it obviously surpassing 1 billion. No. But I think with Zenless Zone Zero,
it's not my model being weird. I'm literally shifting my entire body instead of looking left or right. Because sometimes I look too much to the right or too much to the left, and it genuinely gives me a little pain spike. Ugh.
Failed in that regard.
It's not super painful. It's just
capturing
annoying.
That same kind of oomph and audience that it probably wanted to capture. Now, I'm not saying it's failed in general. I mean, 442 million isn't exactly, some money to scoff at, because
Oh, absolutely not. But it's just, at the same time, it's disingenuous to not say that they could not be obviously doing way better if they just like had less predatory practices all around.
That's still an incredible amount of money, but compared to the previous games, you could definitely say the kind of marketing, or the way that they probably expected the game to go, didn't go the way that they fully expected it. Now obviously they say this was despite ZZZ Zero surpassing 45 million pre-registers, an industry record that outshone Genshin Impact and Honkai Star combined. They say, however, ZZZ Zero did out.
But I'll be real, and here's the reason I say I dropped ZZZ Zero. I very recently logged back in just to start building some characters again. Like, just literally just to do my dailies and get out. And I might even stop doing that and then log back in to get like the big rewards. I tend to find that I have more fun in Honkai Star Rail and in ZZZ Zero whenever I log off for like a month, then come back and they have the entire like, oh, welcome back, here's like a butt ton of energy. So I'm able to like basically do like 4 times the amount of grinding that I normally am able to do. And I feel like that's the only time I'm actually genuinely having fun, because I feel like I'm actually progressing and leveling up my characters. And it's like, I understand that to the company, they want you to stay logged in and grind and do all that BS. But it's like, similar to like Nikke, I feel like if you made it so that the more I played, the more the more I grinded, I was able to slowly but surely gain astrites, gain that premium currency, and like pull for 1, pull for 2, pull for 3 characters. Basically, so that after like maybe a week of playing, maybe more, maybe 2 weeks of playing, I was able to grind out enough astrites to make a 10 pull. Then you would give me a reason to keep playing. Instead, they take this approach of like, oh, the old characters, they're gonna be trash now. The new characters, they're gonna be OP. They're gonna be overpowered as hell. So you better freaking pull for these. And the longer you wait, the longer you like stay out of the game or don't play. When you do come back, all of your meta teams, all your meta characters, they're garbage now. They're freaking D tier, bro. They're F tier. Like, you gotta get the new guy. The new guy one shots everyone. He one shots the enemy before you even fight the enemy. So you don't even gotta fight the enemy.
Perform Hoyoverse's 2016 title Monke Impact third, making more than 4 times over. Comparing
that wasn't a lie, by the way. The new guy does that.
According to Magic estimates,
the new guy will literally like take out enemies like so that you don't even have to fight them. He one shots everyone.
Player spending between Google Play and the app.
That's Store. Actually his gimmick.
So essentially, yeah, this is a little graph of how each of the games have been doing, and you can see there is a pretty big difference whenever it comes to ZZZ Zero and the amount of money they have made. These are the mobile player spending. You can see Genshin Impact almost at.
I'm honestly surprised that Honkai Impact is like almost 50%, it's like 40, maybe 30% of the way there. Like, damn. To Zenless.
Honkai Star are almost making 1.5 billion in its first 12 months, and then yeah, we've got Zenless.
I can understand, but that's mainly because they captured a lot of people. They captured me too, for sure. And the content that they have given has been pretty freaking solid, at least story-wise. But they do definitely unfortunately it's Hoyoverse, so they're starting to do again a lot of those like predatory practices that really tend to like just sort of like kill the vibe for me. I feel like if they fixed a lot of these things and just made it so that free-to-play players were able to like get a satisfactory sense of like progression, I would be more willing to drop my $10 a month, so to speak. My subscription, in other words, to get that like the bonus energies and all that. But as it stands right now, like if it doesn't feel like it deserves my money, I don't want to spend on it. That being said, for all of you at home, my typical rule tends to be like I feel like $30 to $60 is totally fair to spend on any game, period, if you're enjoying it. You get me? But you better earn my $30 to $60.
Zero down here making 442.
At the end of the day, it's basically just World of Warcraft, right? It's a subscription.
And then Honkai Impact third, even lower at the lowest kind of margin there. But again, Honkai Impact third was the game that released before Genshin Impact and before they had that big boost. They say the latest addition to Hoyoverse's games portfolio was also the fourth highest grossing new mobile game of 2024, only behind Nexon's Dungeon and Fighter mobile in China. Infold's Love and Deep Space, and also Pocket trading game Pocket, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you know, that's such a confusing name. They say Spending Zone, Zelazone Zero's most lucrative period
Love in Deep Space, huh?
on mobile was during its launch month, July 2024. And now this is where it gets pretty interesting, because you can see how updates have affected player spending over time. So over those 28 days, game generated over 97.5 million, or 32% of its mobile earnings over the full year. It generated 7 million on its launch date and 43.4 in its first week, before declining later in the month. So yeah, as you can see here, this is the...
And you can't reduce the cost of a 10 pool to like $20 to $10 to $15 if we want to meet in the middle. How much money do you need, China?
Full graph of over the months how Zelazone Zero's spending has been going, and you can see they got to a point in May where it did get pretty bad. I mean, the spending was...
Nah, see, there's gonna be a time at some point where I stop playing the game altogether, and I own like Zelazone Zero for me. There's gonna be a time where I don't care about the game anymore. I don't even play the game anymore. I literally just look at the cosplay.
Was at an all-time low, but then they managed to bring it back with that new update which they released with all of that new kind of stuff coming out, which again I think is great. And I think that, you know, Zelazone Zero have definitely pulled it together a little bit more now. Obviously some people aren't happy with it still, and I think that's totally valid if you know, want some more changes. And I think this is going to be they're going to be fighting a battle here, I think, Hoyoverse, in terms of trying to keep people interested, in terms of trying to keep people happy, because again, you know, they obviously came out with all of...
I'm gonna be honest, the only way to help improve the game is gonna be to stop playing the game as often, or at the very least, don't give as much money as you used to before, because only then will they actually genuinely, let's say, will they genuinely make, let's call it free to play, like player friend, not even just free to play, right? Because any benefit that free to play players get, the paying players are also going to get. It's going to be a while before we see any genuine beneficial to the player, especially to the free to play player, changes, unless we start to see a major drop in player count, so to speak, or at the very least see enough of a drop, and not in money, and like, we don't necessarily need to see a drop in money making, which maybe that would work better, but I already know you freaking whales are never gonna stop agooning, like, you know, it is what it is. But at the very least, if they see a drop in player numbers, that might scare them enough to the point where they might actually start to make those changes and make more positive choices for the player specifically.
This kind of stuff, saying that they were going to change a lot of things to make it more exciting, and you know, they've done that a couple of times, which has boosted their banner sales quite a bit, because people were very excited at the start. As you can see, they almost hit 100 million in the first month, which is pretty crazy to see. But again, you know, it has been slowly down at the moment, and it would be interesting to see, after all of this kind of hyping up of this, like, you know, new big update, where the revenue is going to be at with some of these characters, because again, it could just drop straight back down to here again, which, you know, is very interesting. I think it's an interesting thing to look at.
Let's be completely honest, though. If there is a major drop in actual revenue, they're just going to release, like, just like every other time, they're gonna release a very sexy male or female, or both, and they're gonna make them incredibly overpowered.
Because again, it seems
Done.
like it's
Solution.
the first time that
Like,
Hoyoverse
problem
has kind
solved.
of struggled, I guess, with releasing something. You know, with Genshin Impact and Honkai Star, it's been pretty easy for them. You know, they've been able just to do whatever they really wanted, and then, you know, people will just eat that up, and you know, it's been pretty easy for them over the past couple of years. But I think with Zelazone Zero, they're actually fighting a battle where, you know, obviously there's so many different gacha games at the moment, including, you know, Wuthering Waves and other, you know, similar games like that are out at the moment, where they're kind of like, you know, people are saying, oh, I might as well just go play this other game instead. because they respect more of my time, whatever. Which obviously I think is one of the main reasons as to why Xenosaga Zero isn't doing as good, is due to the competition. And I think that
I will say Wuthering Waves does like respects your time more and better, but there's still very little to do in the end game. They need to add more things to do other than Tower of Adversity. And I love and fully respect the fact that you can like run around in the open world just defeating enemies all the time. Love it, awesome. Please more of that. I got it. Oh, I freaking dropped my stuff. But I also would like it if there was just like, I don't know, some kind like, how would you say this? Like a mini boss, something in between, like not like something in between the big guy that I have to like spam click my freaking character for like 5 minutes to take down his freaking health bar, like these like freaking oh my goodness, I'm gonna die. No, I gotta heal. I gotta switch character, and then like somewhere in between that and like, oh, all right, you're gonna send like 15 guys at me. Oh, they all get killed in one shot. Who cares? Easy. Like there's gotta be some in between. You get me? Which is why I like the tigers and stuff that are like out in the open world. That's pretty cool. But like, I don't know. You know what you should add? You should add like dungeons, like act like underground dungeons. Like just put like cave entrances all over the place, and like make it so that like there's like a bunch of enemies that you have to like get through in those dungeons. Put some treasure chests, and then like put mini bosses, and then like big bosses at the end, and then you get the big reward. Like depending on how far you get in that dungeon, you'll get that many rewards. There you go. That's a free one. That's all for you. That would give you a lot more to do in the open world too. Like you get what I'm saying? You need to do things like that to respect people's time and time more. Another specifically for Zenless Zone Zero, I think the time respect things that I said before was to completely get rid of the TVs. They were the worst feature. There was a completely terrible, stupid idea. Nobody liked the TVs. The people that said that they did like the TVs were lying, and were just trying to like defend their favorite new game. But it was absolutely a stupid idea. It did not work in any way, shape, or form. I hate them even now. They just don't. They shouldn't exist. Get rid of them. Uh, yeah. I mean that's pretty much it. Like it was just a stupid way of them to like come up with an excuse to not have cutscenes and save money on animation, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work in a beat 'em up. That's like that's like playing Street Fighter, except there's no cutscenes in Street Fighter. It's just a stupid TVs. Like that was never gonna work to begin with. If you have to reduce the frame rate or whatever the hell you gotta do, but get those freaking animations in there, put those cutscenes in there. Same to you, Nikkei. Get those freaking animations and cutscenes in there, or at least a freaking voiceover. Wuthering Waves, I'm also looking at you. We need more cutscenes. Way more cutscenes. Small, short, little like 60-second TikTok short cutscenes if it has to be, but something that makes it feel like gives it that premium game feel, and makes the player sort of feel like, oh, something's going on, oh, something's happening. You know, I should be able to be running around in the game, and then suddenly something happens, a quick cutscene shows up, like, oh, big baddie or something, or mini boss, and it's like, oh, something's happening. I did something. You get what I'm saying?
Now
You gotta give me that
that
sensation of
maybe
progression.
we need to do a couple of extra things to kind of get these people to come over, which
y'all gotta add dungeons
to do a little bit.
and it would also give people more rewards all around.
A spending trend often seen with games of its genre, with brief peaks in spending aligning with the new content updates, and new characters are added to the gacha. This has led to a spike approximately once per month, though the extent of those spikes have varied significantly. So yeah, and again, it's very interesting. They say the version 1.2 update on September 25th, for example, saw daily player spending surge by 49% to 2.8 million. A new battle pass, limited time events, and Caesar King's addition to gacha all encourage players to engage and spend. They say version 1.4 saw a much more dramatic surge, up to 189% on update day December 18th, hitting 9 million. This day.
I'll be honest. You know what's one of the biggest things that absolutely kills Zenless Zone Zero right now? Like deadass. It's the synergy. The synergy sucks on all the characters, and it's been like that since day one. The best example is Ellen Joe, the shark girl. If you got Ellen Joe, especially day one, you were screwed. She was the most overpowered character. Yes, she was the number one character everybody wanted. But the problem was that if you got Ellen Joe, you now like it was now a demand. You had to. You absolutely had to also get Lycon. Because if you didn't have both characters, it was stupid. Like it wouldn't work. It like you were missing out. If anything, it was a detriment to you. So it was just like one of those weird situations where it's like a lot of characters almost demand other characters. Otherwise, they don't work. And if you don't have these other characters, you're so screwed. At the very least, in like Hawkeye Star Rail, you know, while I was playing with Kafka and I didn't have my full team yet, you know, I didn't have uh, uh, Memo Keeper. So of course, you know what I do? I use the free to play character. I use Sampo. I didn't have Bailu, so I used Natasha. I didn't have the freaking. I actually until I had everybody else, I didn't get the freaking Gwyneth. So I think I was using. Who was I using? Sometimes I used Hook. Sometimes I used. Eventually, I got Luca. So sometimes I would use Luca, or I would use Gallagher. Now, now I have all the characters I need. But you get what I'm saying? At the very least, there was like free to play options that you were able to use in the meantime. In Zenless Zone Zero, if you play as Miyabi, if you play as Ellen Joe, and you try to use like Nicole, you try to use somebody else that's not like the meta synergy character, like you're gonna be struggling. You're gonna be struggling big time.
Remains Zenless Zone Zero's most lucrative on mobile yet.
So it almost makes it so that you don't even want to pull for certain characters, because it's like if I pull for this character, I also have to pull for this other character.
To become the game's second highest grossing month at 53.9 million. And then yeah, obviously they say, you know, there's some new stuff with Miyabi, anything like that.
Miyabi's basically right now the meta. If you don't have Miyabi, it doesn't matter. You're wasting your time.
You can see, you know, they're kind of justified in the different ways, and then they talk about version 2.0, saying version 2.0 took players to a new game, new in-game city, Feilun Heights in the Wafe Peninsula, where they were tasked with managing operations at Subian Temple, you know, forging alliances with new characters and battling in the expanded hollows. As the game reaches its first anniversary, this game remains the latest update available. Version 2.1 is expected to follow on July 16th. Full details are to be unveiled on the anniversary July 4th. So again, as you can see, you know, there has been a lot of stuff coming out, but essentially it's very interesting to see that, you know, obviously this is how the revenue has gone so far, and it'll be interesting what, you know, it goes on from this. You know, what kind of revenue are we going to see coming into the game, and will Hoyoverse be happy and satisfied with how their game is doing? Because currently, if I was Hoyoverse and I was seeing this graph compared to these ones, I wouldn't be happy. It's showing a downwards trend in terms of, you know, their games. They need either A, to step up their game a little bit, you know, find some way for Zenless Zone Zero to generate more money, or, you know, find a new game that can get them out of this little kind of, I guess, you know, declining state at the moment. But again, I don't think it's the end.
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm saying this in like the kindest way possible, right? Cause I'm not like, I don't hate on people that goon on gacha games. Like it is what it is. Use your money, like spend it on whatever the hell you're gonna spend it on, right? Like if you're not gonna, like what, like you're either gonna spend it like on a date with a chick that's never gonna bang you, or you're gonna spend it on a waifu that's also never gonna bang you. But at least you get to like, you know, you get to feel like some dopamine rush when you defeat an enemy with her. So who cares, right? At the end of the day, but on the real though, some of these whales gotta chill out. They gotta stop, because if y'all just keep spending money and don't send a message, they're just gonna keep treating you equally as bad. And we kind of want to put the fear of the fear of anime Jesus in them, and get them to like you said, step their game up. Because at this point, we're just sort of okay with them shoveling a bunch of turds in our mouths, and it's just kind of you know what? That's honestly why I dropped Honkai Star Rail for a month. I dropped in the Zone Zero for a month, and right now, I think the other day I logged back in. I tried to level up a character, leveled up one skill, two skills, and I got one or two CDs that are good that I was able to use on Lycon, because I just got Lycon, and it's he's not even to the level I'm at max out, right? So it's well, I've already used up all the XP material that they gave me for making my return after a month. I'm kind of over it again. I might just wait until next month to come back and do the same thing again, and I might even do the same thing with Honkai Star Rail. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna catch up on stream, with all the story and stuff, and then do that again. Because honestly, that's honestly what happens when the game is no longer worth a daily visit. Right now, games that I'm playing daily would be Nikke, but literally only because I just beat the 160 wall. So that's also unfair. I have its own judgments. Oddly enough, Girls Frontline 2, Equilibrium, even though I got a lot of complaints about their energy system, but they have their end game is kind of freaking solid. Actually, no nonsense, just instantly get you back into an XCOM style game. So all in there. And technically, Wuthering Waves, I will say, I've been going pretty good with, even though I'm complaining like crazy about the amount of materials you get XP wise and whatnot. If it wasn't for the fact that I've been holding off on completing the quests because I want to do them on stream, I would be definitely still having plenty more time, more things to do in regards to side quests and environmental quests. So there's still plenty of stuff to do in Wuthering Waves outside of the quests and outside there's still plenty of end game to do there. I just wish there was dungeons or something else to do that was a little bit more intricate.
The world or anything for Horrorverse. I don't think anybody should worry that anything's going to happen. It's I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's crazy how much money they have. They can
yeah, they're gonna be fine. The thing is, they could afford to. It would change nothing to their bottom line for them to make these changes, these pro-consumer changes, these pro-player changes. It would cost them nothing. They might lose the 0.1. You know what I'm saying? And it's oh no.
To take a couple of losses, but I don't know, it's just something interesting I want to share with you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, because again, I'm very interested, and yeah, it was just something a little bit different that I wanted to talk about today. But yeah, go to give subs, use my code Kaza.
Oh my goodness, dude, that is the thickest cup I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bro, go use Kaza on Gamer Subs to get the absolute thickest waifu cups I've seen on the internet, bro. Look at that sheep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep.
See ya.
What a absolutely phenomenal video by Kazahana. Go and drop him a subscribe. Go and drop him a like. Poppy. I'm gonna drop a link on Discord. Yo, Gamer Subs, what's up? Send me a freaking sponsor me, bro. Oh, I freaking knew it. See, I told you we were gonna do a Honkai Star Rail one. Well, hold on. First of all, please go and drop Kazahana a like. Go drop him a sub. Let me go ahead and link this on the Discord. Ayoo, Monodachis! Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find links to the videos that we reacted to today down in the description below, along with my Oshi marks. I'll see you in the next video, Monos. Goodbye, and thank you so much for swinging by. Sadu!